recibir al talento de Terminator 3 con un fuerte aplauso. Muy bien, vamos a recibir por favor a Grace Mackenzie Davis, por favor, un aplauso fuerte. Mackenzie, welcome to Mexico. Welcome once again. Thanks for being here. You look gorgeous. Gorgeous. Ahora, por favor, nuestro primer talento latino en salir en escena, colombiana. Ella es Natalia Reyes. Un aplauso para Natalia, por favor. Natalia, bienvenida a la rueda de prensa de Terminator, Destino, Oculto. Vamos también a recibir con un muy fuerte aplauso a alguien que queremos demasiado en este país y que bueno, estamos felices de verlo en la pantalla grande, Diego Boneta. Diego, bienvenido. Qué gusto verlos. Un placer, una delicia de mujer, una leyenda, una de las mujeres más icónicas en la historia del cine, de la ciencia ficción. Por favor, hay que recibir con un fuerte aplauso Linda Hamilton. Linda, welcome. Y cómo no, recibir también con un fuerte aplauso, por favor, al director de esta película, Tim Miller. Welcome to Mexico once again. Welcome, guys. How are you? Good? Okay, guys.
Es la primera vez que hago una película con tantos efectos especiales. Tim es un genio con todo ese mundo y pues era una locura porque de repente una escena de la persecución de coches que dura en pantalla 5 minutos, tardamos 3 semanas en filmarla. Entonces era en 12 horas filmar segundos, fracciones de esa persecución, ¿no? Cosa que pues en otros proyectos filmas, no sé, 7 páginas al día. Entonces el cambiar todas esas escenas por green screens, por todo eso fue un reto totalmente diferente.
So I had to really struggle to sort of relearn some new things. And then just essentially the entire film was, you know, if you had a free moment, it was military training, stunt training, scuba lessons, Spanish lessons. I didn't learn that much, but just so that I could speak the Spanish lines. So it was full, you know, it was hard work all the time, even when we weren't on screen.
It was a lot of exercising, and that was sort of the bulk of the pre-production work, and then just a lot of stunt training, sort of any moment that you had free in pre-production and in production, you were filling with, okay, they're going to reset the camera over here, go practice this stunt over here that we're going to shoot next week. It was really sort of constant.
Okay, did you got frustrated at one point about filming or training for your role that you knew? Did you got frustrated by, well, I thought I knew it. I thought it would be easy because I knew Sarah Connor. But how was that process, like your inner process between you, Linda, and Sarah?
You know, there was a certain expectation even for myself to match the last Sarah Connor that we saw, and at a certain point you just go, there is no way that you think you can put in the same amount of work and get the same results, but that's not possible 27 years later. So then I came to terms with the fact that I might not, nor did I really want to look like her. It's just everyone that sees it is going to go, oh, she got old, you know? So I decided to go with that. And really, I dyed my hair white so that people would make the distinction between Sarah Connor then and Sarah Connor now.
The decisions that Sarah made at the end of Terminator 2 rewrote this future. So even though it was going to have some similarities, Judgment Day was inevitable, the rise of artificial intelligence is inevitable, we wanted it to be different as well. So there was a real opportunity to, even within the boundaries of what we already knew we were going to do, and telling what happened with Sarah after Terminator 2, we knew there was a lot of room to do interesting things.
Como Tim dice, normalmente en estas películas tan grandes, en mi experiencia, tienes que decir lo que está en la página, no puedes opinar, tienes que llegar ahí a la hora que es tu llamado, decir la línea y si no te gusta ni modo. a mí me impresionó muchísimo lo abierto que estaba Tim a la colaboración y cómo llegaba y nos enseñaba el previs de la escena y todo. O sea, como que yo pensaba que me iba a meter en problemas porque nos estaba enseñando todo y estaba tan abierto a las notas de todo el mundo.
I wouldn't say I was making a statement, but you have to, living in California, the culture is heavily influenced by everything that comes from the South. And I think that for us designing the story, we really wanted to tell a story that got outside of the usual. Usually Terminator is urban, it's cities, it's downtown, and we start in Mexico City, but then quickly the story moves out into rural northern Mexico as we head towards the border. And you know, of course, crossing the border is a big thing in the zeitgeist today, and I was glad to have a chance to have that in the movie. So for me, it just felt like the right kind of story to tell right now.
Well, it's funny because you do about a month of pre-production, so we were in Spain training and we were sort of in this world getting ready for the big first day, that when the day comes up it kind of feels like another work day until you arrive and then suddenly you're like, holy shit, I'm about to shoot a Terminator movie. Our first scene was on the streets in Madrid. It was playing Mexico with Natalia and I at this very sort of crucial moment in the movie. So it was a very stressful way to start with this like huge scene. Yeah, I don't know, I generally do just sort of oscillate between feeling very much like this is work, I'm going to work, and then being entirely overwhelmed that this is your work.
Because you're in another world.
Because you're in another world,
Literally.
and they've transformed it as well. I mean, where we were shooting was right around the corner from where I was staying in Madrid, and I'd walked down that street for the past like 6 or 4 weeks, and then that day I turned around and I was like, oh, we're in Mexico! So it's always sort of overwhelming and amazing.
Y efectivamente era una calle que todos los días veíamos y al día siguiente llegamos y era México, con los taxis de México, con los puestos de tacos, o sea, impresionante el trabajo de arte que hicieron. Yo no dormí la noche anterior, o sea, no podía de la ansiedad y llegué ese día y era enfrentarme no solo a una película de acción ni a Terminator, sino realmente a un mundo que es completamente nuevo para mí, una producción de esta escala, un idioma que no es el mío, en un país que no es el mío, y llegar y realmente encontrar la cantidad de gente que había detrás de cámaras. Nunca me había enfrentado a 600 personas en total, o sea, era como hormigas de un lado para el otro, como todo este engranaje que hay detrás de esta película. Es impresionante la cantidad de trabajo.
Igual que Nat, me costó mucho trabajo dormir la noche anterior. Llegas a un set enorme, y sí te sacas de onda, ¿no? Entonces, si de repente estás pensando en la película que estás haciendo y lo que significa y todo, te dan tantos nervios que te paralizan. Entonces como que tienes que de alguna manera u otra normalizar todo lo que está pasando, y que en tu cabeza solamente sea otro día en la chamba, pasándotela bien, tratando de disfrutar lo más posible.
Well, it was unbelievable chaos with the crowds outside, and they were trying to hide first looks, and there are all kinds of paparazzi out there, so I was covered up by a coat anywhere that I went until we got into the pharmacia. You know, it's just a weird start because it was almost impossible to do crowd control. I tell this story on Natalia and myself because Jim Cameron had rewritten a little bit of the scene the night before. It's my first day. They've been working for 2 days. So they had already gotten to a place in the scene. So Jim Cameron sends it out the night before, and I'm like, great, doable. And Sarah Connor drives up and says to the 2 ladies, I need answers from you 2, get in the car. But Tim had directed it, and they had naturally landed it the day before, where Mackenzie is lying unconscious on the sidewalk. So she's unconscious, so there's no way she can get in my car. So that started this whole domino effect of like, okay, we have to rearrange the scene, rearrange the dialogue. It was awkward. It was terribly loud. Then Tim didn't really like where it was going, so Tim rewrote it. But they couldn't print anything out, and it became so like do this version, do that version. I'm holding a gun and my hand is actually shaking, even though I'd been working for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I just remember the camera's on me, it's the end of the day, we're fighting to get the shots done. And I look down at Natalia with the camera rolling and she goes, are we doing the long version or the short version? I mean, that's how confusing it was. Camera is rolling and I look down and she goes, long version, and I'm like, it was a lost day.
Tim, how do you make this attractive to the new people?
To the audience.
Well, look, I think that everybody's connection to technology today is much more personal and intimate than it was back in 1984 when Jim first made the Terminator movies. And that makes it both more interesting and more prophetic, what he was saying, but also I think that the way people interact with technology today is something that Jim didn't imagine too much into the philosophizing. But I think as dangerous as Armageddon and robots taking over the world is humanity handing their own sense of agency and personal guidance for their own destiny over to artificial intelligence. If AI knows you so well that it makes decisions for you, and you say, well, fuck it, the AIs know me better than I know myself, I'm just going to let them do it, I think that's hugely dangerous for humanity.
The people on this stage are my dream team in terms of actors, performers, and people. You know, I don't think in terms of what was and what is. I come in and just hope that they will rise into play so that we can do the best work that is there for us to do. And I was never disappointed. I have never felt so happy to be with a group of people, because over the course of the 6 months and all of the challenges, they just showed their true mettle every single day. So it was a living joy for me.
You would think that there could be some jealousy between, you'd think that maybe this felt like a passing of the torch for both Arnold and for Linda, but there was none of that. Everybody was so generous. There was none of the shit you hear about on movie sets where somebody wanted more lines for their character or wanted to stand in front and get closer to the camera. None of that happened on our set. It was truly collaborative and it was amazing.
Diego?
Buena pregunta. De entrada, me da mucho gusto que ya siento que Hollywood ya está teniendo otra perspectiva a los personajes latinos. Y el mejor ejemplo no es conmigo, es con Natalia y el personaje que ella está haciendo en esta película, no solo como latina, sino como mujer también. Yo aquí nada más estoy feliz de poder trabajar con este gran elenco, con Tim, que es un gran director, con James Cameron, que es también una leyenda, y como mexicano poder pues, demostrar que la podemos hacer donde sea. Pero realmente creo que tú deberías de contestar también a esta pregunta.
Yo creo que es muy importante lo que dijiste acerca de los estereotipos. No solo la participación latina en Hollywood ha sido muy baja, sino que ha sido mal representada. Realmente siempre hemos estado ligados a la ilegalidad, a la prostitución, a las drogas, y creo que esto es un reflejo de cómo el mundo está cambiando, pero también Hollywood está cambiando, y cómo los latinos realmente podemos empezar a romper estos paradigmas y estos estereotipos de qué podemos llegar a interpretar. Dani es un personaje que no tiene nada que ver con la ilegalidad, es una mujer luchadora, amorosa, trabajadora, directa, y creo que le hace justicia a la mujer latinoamericana realmente.
I don't know, stop asking Alexa to turn your lights on. Like, that's like my thing. It's just one little thing. Like, stand up and turn your own lights on and off.
Do something.
I don't know, I don't rely on technology very much. It doesn't, I've never gotten along with it. I really do believe that it was set in motion on the first Terminator, where it's like me, machinery, So I've always been the one that likes to do things herself. I was one of the last people on Earth to get a cell phone. I don't even have a computer now. I'm down to one device. I just like to live, like it's the 1950s.
Someone else?
Well,
Yo juntándome con estas tres mujeres para que si algo pasa aquí... yo creo que la tecnología es un arma de doble filo, depende cómo la uses. Creo que algo que es muy bonito de la cultura mexicana es lo importante que es la familia, ¿no? Y la convivencia familiar, el estar cenando con tu familia y no tener el celular, o sea, el tomar esas decisiones conscientes.